I spent 4 months in Garrod instead of the agreed 6. In fact, I was on the verge of leaving many times during those 4 months. Too many lies, arrogance, narcissism, beating around the bush scheming. At the end of the second month, I had started packing my stuff. But in the meantime, I had to survive mentally, and if I could squeeze any pleasant emotions from somewhere. So Christmas came, which I spent in the company of wonderful people.
Cheers, yes.
George were there, my friend from Glasgow. Mick, Lynn, and Kent were also there, friends of the owners and incredibly nice and warm people. Not to be left out was Andrew, also a friend of the owners.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
But he was put in a very awkward and uncomfortable position, so that after me he was the one who experienced the least festive mood.
That's the birthday one there, yeah.
That's the birthday.
That's the birthday one.
And he actually left at Christmas. That bad the situation was. Anyway,
He's here. Here, you have to make your own sandwiches up.
Oh, you got it.
nice company and Christmas traditions that were new to me.
Yourself, Simon.
Yeah, they're lovely.
There's a hat.
They're lovely chip sandwich.
I don't know what's that.
Oh, it's a
It's a
Brussels
Brussels
sandwich.
sandwich.
It's a Brussels sandwich.
This time, isn't it?
What's that?
Just a joke and then a hat.
I don't get that.
What is it?
Sorry.
What kind is the most popular at Christmas?
I don't know.
A stocking. A stocking. Stocking. Where did the baby Jesus sleep?
I don't understand that. What's that?
I don't understand that either.
You're going to look it up.
Duke
Duke of Earl, but it's pronounced Duke.
Duke.
Is
John Wayne, wasn't it? It was John Wayne was the Duke.
Really?
This was my first really enjoyable evening at this place.
That's a GoPro. There we go.
Gene Chandler.
Stay, lady, stay. Any longer for the world to begin. You can have your cake and eat it too.
And then in January, things changed radically. In fact, nothing really changed, except that envy, jealousy, and spite were added to the whole cocktail I've already listed.
There he is. He's gonna pick me up or what?
Only I didn't care anymore. Thanks to Zach, I was able to almost completely isolate the negatives of Garrod and finally enjoy the positives. We were inundated with laughter and shenanigans all day long. The peace and the beauty of the Scottish Highlands, the woods, the warm company of a positive smiling person, cozy candlelit evenings by the fire, a pipe, glass of wine, or maybe whiskey. Burns night! And again, thanks to Zach, I was able to dress in a kilt and jacket along with other necessary accessories, like a sporran for example, and had a sincerely good time. On the 25th of January, Scotland celebrates the birthday of the poet Robert Burns, with rituals including formal outfit with a traditional Scottish kilt, Burns poems, traditional meals with the invariable haggis, and of course plenty of whiskey, the more the better.
Make a trench in your bright gushing guts to form a ditch, and then oh, what a glorious sight. Warm, steaming, rich.
Is there a pretentious soul
over his French preference or Italian cuisine that would make a pig sick, or French stew that would make the same pig ill, with complete and utter disgust, look down with a sneering, scornful attitude on such a meal as haggis? But look at the man who's eating haggis. The trembling earth respects him as a man. Put a knife in his hand, he'll make it work. And his legs, his arms, his heads, they'll come off just like the tops of a thistle. You look at the people who look after mankind and dish out his bill of fare. Old Scotland wants none of that crap. No watery, wimpy shit that splashes about in little wooden bowls. But if you want to grant her a grateful prayer, give her a haggis. So here's to friends. Maybe you don't know what you're expecting. And whether they're human or not.
Now hold on. This is a very important moment. The moment I started drinking whiskey. It all started with the Friendship's Cup, and about the end we shall see. Or maybe not. At the time, my camera was under repair at GoPro, so my phone was my only option.
Sorry, Adrian. Oh yeah, sometimes a cigar is just a cigar.
So the footage is very limited and not good quality, but carrying a strong emotional charge. And since we are talking about whiskey, as a newbie, I decided to take a picture of everyone I try. Digging a pit is forbidden.
What it is?
Only, Zach had found an option not to dig it, but to collect it from under the roots of trees that had fallen from the storms.
You bastard.
It was mid-January, and we had about 5 pieces of firewood left.
See how that all peels away? And I kind of try and break it. No good. We might be moving on in a minute here.
Not to mention, the fire was rarely allowed, and the cold was one of the reasons I started packing up.
Not bad.
So we had to get fuel to warm ourselves and the house in general.
Yay!
That aside, we both had a shared weakness for the woods and really enjoyed doing it. Let me introduce you to the attraction of Garrow, the two fluffy, always hungry balls.
Well, I was introduced to this as a Barnsley Stout. So, thanks, Steve, for showing me this lovely way of foaming up a Guinness. You got red hot poker on a coal fire. And it toasts the foam and gets the beer up to warming temperature. I'm still working on this, but I think you stop when the sizzling stops. fantastic.
Now, this adventure, along with some of the others, deserve a lot more attention, so you can expect separate episodes about them.
You got a flashlight?
No. There hasn't been much snow this winter. That's cause I was set up for serious snowfall, of course. Still, it did snow a little once or twice. Let us finally see the white Scotland. Once we were even snowed in for 3 days. The machines were clearing the main road, but our section was our responsibility. Not that it mattered much, apart from having to put off my eye exam appointment, there were no other consequences. The hotel was closed and we weren't expecting guests, so we didn't have anything to rush about. There was no point of rushing, but still Ollie decided it has to be cleared. The Land Rover has a rake, so it has to clear the snow. I was thinking that too, but... well, it was like that all the way. Zach clearing in front of the snowplow. All day long without exercise for fools, as we say in Bulgarian. I didn't see any logic in it, especially since the forecast was for sun and high temperatures from the next day. Which means, in a day, two at most, the snow would disappear on its own. But the wise man had decided otherwise. Whatever. I couldn't be bothered with nonsense. Only that I couldn't watch Zach doing all the work by himself. All that absolutely pointless work. So, I stopped filming, and for the rest of the day, the situation was Zach and Ellie snowplowing in front of the snowplow. Yep, we finally did it! Here, I noticed a suspicious movement from upstairs and instantly knew what Zach was up to. Can't have fun without me, surely not? I immediately jumped into my boots and joined the party. It was fun, and the experiment was quite a success. That challenge is over. Chapter closed. Time to move on.